What's up, Ham Fam? Welcome back to another episode of Hard as a Mother. It's so good to be back in the studio for episode 3. If you're new and just tuning in, we are just two moms creating a safe space for moms, dads, or anyone really to share in the joys and the realness of parenting. And if you're an avid follower and you've been watching us for a while, thank you so much for your support and for following along with us. I am your hostess with the mostest, Giselle, and joining me is my lovely co-host, Harleen.
Hello. Wee. That's like my whole thing. Anyways, speaking of realness and honesty of parenting, I'm so exhausted today. Please tell me I am not the only one who is constantly freaking exhausted. I had to nap today. So I have literally tried everything today to stay awake. Anywho, welcome back, Ham Fam. I'm so excited that it is episode 3. I love being in the studio as it's just a me time. And I like to shoot the shit and vent or whatever I need to do. And no one is judging me here, nor I have to look at the damn mess at my house. Who else?
Oh, yeah. I mean, mess is a total trigger for me. And I think I moved my office from, because I work from home, I moved my office from the kitchen to upstairs because every time I'm working, I would look over and the counter would be messy or they'd have fingerprints and I'd be like, oh, and get up from my desk and clean it. And then I had to stop because I'm like, this is messing with me right now. So I moved upstairs where I can't see it. But yeah, I know what you mean, especially when you have a kid. It's like cleaning a house with a kid in it is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. It's useless.
I feel like when you're working at home, it is a catch-22. You get to do things, but not because everywhere I'm part of my house, I'll sit and I'll look at, I was like, oh my God, those vents are dirty. Oh my God, my baseboard. Anyways, we are in luck because today we're going to get a guide and oh my God, Harleen. Okay. Sorry, guys. I told you I was tired. Okay. So we have someone here today and she's come at a perfect time because I feel like Giselle and I are always triggered and we're always talking about how we don't have fucking time to do anything in our house and we still complain about how dirty our house is. And when people come over, they're like, you're crazy because your house is great. So our guest today was featured on CTV Morning and is a busy mom of 2 and completely understands the day-to-day stresses of a hectic life and schedule. Her years as an experienced professional organizer is to bring that sense of peace back into your home. Clutter and chaos can cloud your mind and make things, make things easy. Daily tasks feel like a chore. And I spelled that shore. Wow, Harleen. Proofread. Where she opened her own business, Sparx Organizing, where she takes the burden off your shoulders. So we want to welcome Krystee. And I'm so sorry I butchered that whole introduction. Give it to Harleen to do intro. I should never do intros anymore. But welcome, Krystee.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you. We need your help. When you reached out to us, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. Because when we were talking about future guests we could have on our show, we kind of mentioned we should talk to somebody about how we can clean our homes, be tidier and all this, because I mean, as moms, like I said, it's impossible to keep things tidy and neat, and it plays a lot in your mental health. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into this awesome profession and how you're doing it at home with being a mom?
Oh gosh. Well, I was working corporate
like everybody else.
And truth be told, I went back to work when my son was 11 months old. Mm-hmm. And my husband is an entrepreneur as well. He owns his own job or owns his own company. And so he always got my son ready in the morning. And he sent me a video, and I'm sitting in my office, and he sent me a video of his first steps. And I went to the bathroom and I bawled for 20 minutes. Because then I was like, okay, mom guilt. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I missed his first steps, my first child, my firstborn, first steps, everything. And I just kind of had a huge moment of realization. And I was thinking, this can't be it. Mm-hmm. Is this what I'm going to do? I'm a little minion in a worldwide, massive company. And I just started thinking, okay, what can I do and what am I good at? It's that typical start your own business. What are you good at? What can you do? And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to stick it out because I like the benefits and the mat leave. Let's not kid ourselves. So I thought, okay, once I have my second child, then I'm going to transition and start something that I thoroughly, absolutely enjoy doing, and that's organizing. And that was one of the things that I've always drawn back on, even before I had children, was organization. If I was feeling stressed or overwhelmed in life or anything like that, I would always organize my surroundings and my environment because it would take down my anxiety and make me feel better. So I was on vacation after the birth of my daughter, and we were in Montana at my sister-in-law's, and I'm floating in water. And it was the wildest thing because I had no idea what I was going to do. And I was like, okay, I've got about 9 months left of mat leave before I have to go back to corporate. And I'm floating in that water, and I was like, I'm going to start an organizing business. I'm good at it. I love it. And I want to give people that feeling. And so I did. And here I am. We're almost 5 years in business.
Wow.
You just gave me goosebumps.
Oh.
No, I'm not kidding. I don't know. It's like coming down my legs, and then it's just like for when you come to a full circle of self-realization to be like, is this all for me? Like, that is it? Because we always talk about, you know, here we are in our 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like in my 40s now, but and then you're just like, is this it? Am I just a freaking mom? Like, I've lost, and we talk about it all the time, is that we lose ourselves into motherhood, and then you're like, I have to work because I have to do X, Y, Z, provide for my family, do all these things, and you just kind of like hate your job sometimes. Let's be real, okay?
No,
and
for
you're just
sure.
like, you want to get in and you want to get out.
Yep.
You know, so I love that. That's great. It literally is giving me goosebumps.
I mean, coming to realizing what your true passion is, which is great. And 5 years, wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, I bet. So has things kind of grown since you started? Like, do you have a staff under you that organizes with you, and you kind of just send them to wherever? And did you start everything just by yourself, or?
Yeah, so I started everything completely on my own. And then I just started hiring because I was getting to the point where my clients would have to wait like 3 months for me just to even go into their home.
yeah.
And not a lot of people have patience when they want their home organized.
Right.
They want it now.
They want it
I'm
now.
like that.
Exactly. And I mean, even now I've got a team of 5, and still we're booking 4 to 6 weeks out on our schedule on average. So, but it was getting to that point, and I was starting to feel burnout because I was going through and organizing whole homes, and it would take me like 4 to 6 weeks to organize just one house.
Yeah.
So it was limiting what I could do and my financial potential with my business.
Yeah.
So then I started hiring and building a team and all that kind of stuff. So I've got a lead organizer, and then I've got some assistants that help as well too. So I mean, everybody's just amazing, and they all love organizing, and that's the biggest aspect.
Are you hiring? Because we love to organize. We're quitting our jobs.
I always say, I'm like, we're always hiring. Never say never. But yeah, right now, no, not actually. We're not.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. I'll email you guys.
Okay, so don't quit your day job.
Okay, I won't quit my day job. So you have 2 kids.
Yes.
You're a busy mom. After you're done organizing and cleaning your own, like other people's homes, like how do you have the patience to organize your own like place?
Yeah.
After you're just like tackling 4 to 6 weeks, and then you get home and you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Like, do you ever think that way? Like, oh my God, I got to go home and I have to do this stuff.
That's one of the biggest things. So I teach, so this is often a tangent, but I also teach, I have worldwide courses to teach on how to start a business as a professional organizer. So I teach that, and that's what the majority of people that become professional organizers, that's what we all say, because it's the same kind of thing. You're an accountant, you do everyone else's bookkeeping, you don't want to do your own.
Yeah.
You're a cleaner, you clean someone else's house, you come home, you don't want to clean your stove. And it does happen like that at my own home. But at the end of the day, I do have all the systems in place. And everything's already set up for success. So if anything, it's usually just my children that don't put things back.
Oh, yeah.
Even though there's labels and they know exactly. And And I go, guys, if a client were to walk in through my front door, this would not reflect positively.
You will bring my ratings down.
Put your balls in the ball bin. So, but honestly, like for the most part, everything has a system, everything has a place. Like, and and this is what I say to our clients all the time is you need to get into routines and its habits. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to set you up and I'm going to create all these organizational systems and I'm going to show you how to use it, I've organized it. You've spent the money. You've invested in having myself. My team has been here for 4 days and we have organized 3 floors in your house. Mm-hmm. I'm going to walk away. Now the responsibility lands onto you. So now it's your responsibility to make sure that you are going through the habits to make sure that you are putting your toothbrush where it's supposed to go. You put the pens where they're supposed to go. Where does your mail go? I've created systems. Mm-hmm. Now you've got mail. This is where it goes. Yeah. So it does go back onto the ownership of the client and habits and things like that. And I like to always say is just maybe spend 5 to 10 minutes every night. I know you're exhausted. I'm exhausted. But spend 5 to 10 minutes every single night and reset your home. Maybe just reset your main floor. Who cares about the upper floor? Who cares about the basement? Whatever.
By reset, do you mean you do it? You go around and put everything away?
I have my kids.
Okay.
My kids help me. So I have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. Yeah. Actually, my daughter turns 5 next week. And that's one of the things that I don't want to say conditioned them to do. But I've coached and taught them if you're going to leave this floor and now you want to go play in the bonus room because there's different floors mm-hmm. and different toys and things like that, I want you to clean up this floor before you go upstairs. Okay. Yeah. It's not perfect. Do not get me wrong. They don't always do that. But it's creating those habits and those routines and those expectations and simple things like when they come in the house, you need to hang your backpack. You need to empty your lunch kit. Where does your lunch kit go? It goes in the floor bin in the pantry. So it's little habits. And that's what I say to them all the time. I'm like, guys, I can't run this household alone. I need the 2 of you plus my husband to everybody to have daily routines to help keep the house in order. Mm-hmm. Because organization isn't said, one and done.
Yeah, right.
It's not. It's daily practices. And that's one of the things too, is, we have so many clients that are double income, very busy households, and we offer refresh services. So, we'll come in, organize the space, and then maybe once every 6 months or once every 3 months, we come in for maybe 4 hours. We only send one organizer in, and they just come in and just refresh it. They just make sure that the pasta is sitting in the pasta bin, or we make sure that, your contacts are in the contact section in your drawer, or whatever it might be. So we just refresh the space for you. So then that way they don't have to do it. And it's just kind of like a nice little, just a little reset, because sometimes you're a little bit too busy. Because every single spring I have to reset my garage.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I'm cringing right now. I feel like I just reset my entire place after the move.
You had to.
Yeah. Well, I'll go into the tangent there later because I kind of have this. But my question for you is, you said you're not conditioning your kids to clean, or because you're asking them, how important is it to teach your children that, because they'll stay organized when they grow up? And the only reason why I ask is because Giselle and I grew up in a home where I think we're compulsive when it comes to cleaning and organization, because it was like that. We were actually conditioned, mm-hmm. and it was like a must. Mm-hmm. And now I won't go to sleep. I won't do anything. I'll rage clean because I need, before I lay down, my house needs to be perfect, no matter if it's just me. Yep. Like, it needs to be before I lay down.
Yeah.
How important, is that?
I think what I always say to people is that we want to raise capable children because they're going to turn into adults and they're going to have a home of their own. So I want to be able to give them the tools and the necessities that they need to learn in order to organize and to maintain it. Do they clean and tidy their bonus room every single night before they go to bed? No. It's not a perfect world. And sometimes, truth be told, I don't have the energy to be able to fight that battle based on what they're going through on that day. Or maybe we had dance and we had swimming and we had soccer that night and I just want to have a shower. Mm-hmm. So it's a pick your battles. But at the end of the day, we have a lot of clients who have children that are a certain age and they do everything for their kids. And I want to be able to give them the tools and say, you know what? They're 8. They're capable. You can 100% guide them along this process. And they are more than capable to put the board games away in a specific way or to put them on the shelf. It doesn't have to be perfect in the box or anything like that, but can we have it together and can we put it on the shelf?
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that we need to do. And I grew up in a very organized home. Both my parents are divorced, but both of them were both individually organized, but they weren't overly strict on it.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that, I can't, just because you and I always talk about it, it's a thing that I have to, I literally have to unlearn. Because I'll call her at like 11 at night, and I'm like, fuck, no one cleaned this shit, and I'm fucking rage cleaning, and then I'll message her in the morning. I was like, I didn't go to bed till 4 o'clock. I'm so tired.
Because it created you anxiety.
Yeah. And then when I get up in the morning, I'm in a shitty mood, and then I'm in a shitty mood all day. And when I come home, I again, it's like that. It's like I can't turn a blind eye, but I feel like I need to unlearn certain things when it comes to just letting go. It's like, you know what? It's not perfect, but it's where it needs to be. Let's just chunk it off piece by piece and just try not to be upset about it.
And that's where one of those things where if you can have a family as a whole join in with you and they help you reset the house, spend 5-10 minutes, put a timer on the stove.
And this is the thing that I've been itching to ask you too, because like Har said, I feel like it's a behavior that's passed down, right? And in my household, my fiance, he did not grow up like that. I'm pretty sure the first time he ever changed his own sheets was when we started dating because I made him. Because he was just so spoiled. He's the oldest of 2 brothers, and their mom did everything. Yeah. So even when we moved in together, his mom was like, just letting you know, his version of doing laundry is putting it in the machine and forgetting about it. And I was like, okay, but she was absolutely right. So we are so opposite. He's just very laid back and easygoing. He has other priorities, right? So having him on board when we do these things, it's so hard. And I feel like I'm being so hard on my family. And the thing that I'm torn about is like I said, is passed down from my mom. Like my mom was so strict with how clean the house was. Like we had, you know how in like old school layouts of houses, they have a separate dining room, like a fancy dining room, and then like the kitchen nook. So our dining room had carpet. And if my mom,
carpet lines.
Yes. And if my mom vacuumed and had lines, you weren't allowed to take that way. You had to go around. And if she comes home and she's like, who walked on my vacuum lines? Like we get in trouble. And so that's how I was conditioned, which I'm in a way thankful for, because now I'm like that. I'm just like, I'm the one who keeps the house organized. And then when I try to place those rules at home and I feel like I'm just being crazy, or that everyone thinks I'm like a monster because I'm always yelling about clean this, clean that, clean as you go. But like I get no validation, right? And then I read things online where it's like, oh, your kids are never going to remember how clean of a house you had. And, you know, let kids be kids. And you know what I mean? And then I'm just thrown back to where I'm just like, okay, how often do I need to be telling her to do this? I know she's capable.
Yep.
I know maybe I don't need to be, you know, that anal about a lot of things, but at the same time, like, I don't know what the balance is, right? And then you have my fiance who did not grow up in a house like that. So I feel like I'm alone in this. Like, I feel like when I say, you guys need to do this, they're just like, oh, there's mom being anal again, you know? And then of course I get no validation unless I call her and it's like,
it's like
she's like, I'm cleaning the toilet. I was like, okay, good. I'm not the only anal one. So
I think like, and that's with a lot of our clients is, we do have some hesitancy among spouses. Like, so sometimes we'll have one hire us and then the other one is just like, we don't need our house organized. Like they don't need to go through this box of cables that we've had for 23 years. It's fine. And then the other spouse is just like, no, but like the environment is cluttered, like, and no one else is helping me and it's always me doing it. And at the end of the day, statistically speaking, with my business in the past 5 years, it's usually the mom.
Yeah.
Because she's the one that we are the scheduler. We are basically the inventory, the manager of the household. So it's usually them that's just like, that's it, I'm done. And truth be told, a lot of times once we come in, we usually get texts later on that night when the spouses come home and they're like, holy crap, this is amazing. Why didn't we do this earlier? It's very rare that we have spouses that are like, oh, that was wasted. Or, oh, why did they organize our pantry? I can totally see my Oreos now. Like, you know, so it's very, you know, it's very not common that we have that. So, and I think at the end of the day, and how I run my household, it's pick your battles. And the thing is that I've got siblings, and most of us are very organized. And then one of my youngest brother is not. He's just very chill, relaxed.
Is that like a male thing, like a man thing?
No, because I'm the only girl. And all my other brothers are like tight on organization. So like, he's just chill. Like I come and I organize his house and he'll be like, Krystee, I don't know what to do in this drawer. And I'm like, I got you, man. I'm like, Chad, I'm going to set you up for success. And I'm like, but here's the thing. Like, let's make eye contact. Put the pens back in the drawer. And he's just like, yeah, I got you. And I'm like, no, like, put the pens back in the drawer. And he's like, yeah, okay, cool. Half the time I go to his house and the pens are like all over the place. So, I mean, like, it's fine. It's okay. And at the end of the day, as long as he feels comfortable and he feels happy in his space, and no one else is feeling stressed and overwhelmed and anxiety, you know, and things like that. And like, you know, we're sitting at 80% organized. We're good. It's fine. He doesn't have the pens in the drawer. It's okay.
So what is your feeling or what are your thoughts on junk drawers?
I have a junk drawer.
Okay, what's in it? I want to know.
So what do I have in my junk drawer? I've got tools. I've got batteries. I've got some change. I've got pens, notepads. Oh, I've got like a little stamp. I was sponsored by Madewell's Labels. And so I have a little custom, what do you call it? Come on, guys.
Like a
return address stamp. I don't know.
I don't know. But I like that.
Oh, that's cool that you were sponsored.
Pick up what I'm saying. I'm making the hand gesture.
They're going to be like, what? Because they're like, for people who are listening and then who's watching, they're like, what noise is she making?
I like to send my granny mail. So I've got that in there. What else I have? I've got gift cards. But the thing is that I have individual drawer organizers in there, and then it's all categorized by section. So we've got all the money together, the tech together, the tools together, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
We do recommend having a junk drawer. Some professional organizers call it a utility drawer, which is nice.
But it's an organized
I call it a
mess,
junk drawer.
Right?
So it's an organized mess.
Yeah, you know what's in your junk drawer,
Yeah.
and you know if you need something in the junk drawer, you know where to find it. It's not like you're rummaging around and trying to. Yeah, that's how my junk drawer is. But how many junk drawers?
One.
I'm like counting how many junk drawers I have. I think I have one in every room.
No, one in the kitchen. That's it. Oh. Yeah. And we usually are able to maintain that in every single client's home. We've been in homes where they've got 4 junk drawers in the kitchen alone. We're able to pare it all down to one.
Oh, man.
You know, okay. So
you can do it. Okay, so here's my thing. So, because a lot of people ask
I only
me,
have one.
You only have one?
I have one, but then just recently, I had to move because I wasn't sure where I was going to put it. So there's like, I have where the TV, what do you call it, console? One side of it became like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this, but I don't want it's like all in one spot, and I put it on the floor. I just threw it in there. I was like, I feel better. I'll get to it. Like
when you get to it.
When I get to it.
Yeah, when you feel good about getting to it. Yeah.
Because right now, it's just everything's loading. So anyways, that became one. And then in the flex room downstairs, there was another one because of a TV console. I was like, I feel better about it because I've been walking by it every day. And I was like, it's okay. It's going to go somewhere. But then I just, like I said, because of the whole integration thing, I'm like, it's going in here right now until I can figure out what
and
I
that's
need to
okay. We have a lot of clients too that, you know, you walk into their home and you're like, oh, their home's looks neat and tidy and everything's fantastic. Like, why am I here? You open the drawers and you're like, oh, that's why I'm here. So, I mean, there's like 2 different types of people, right? There's some people that just squirrel it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they don't want you to open their linen closet because towels are going to fall on them. And, you know, you go over for a dinner party and they lay like a nice tablecloth. Everybody's helping clean up at the end of the night. And you're like, oh, I can bring this up to your laundry room. And they're like, no, it's okay. You can just put it on the stairs. Don't go to my laundry room. It's fine. Because when you won't be able to open the laundry room door because it's stuffed and there's crap everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to just tucking things away, sometimes like from a mental health perspective, you have to. You just got to put a lid on it, depending on the day and how you're feeling. And then when you're there and you're okay to deal with it and handle it, then you can tackle it and you can come back to it later. Just make sure it doesn't snowball and ends up becoming like, you know, okay, then I've got squirreled spot here and then I've got a basket here and I've done this and done that. So then it ends up becoming so many spots.
So why do you think, because you said statistically and obviously, it's mostly the moms that feel this way, right? Like rarely do you ever hear a dad go, oh my God, I can't sleep because nothing is organized, you know? So excuse me. Why do you think that is? Why do we feel this way that we need to think about our mental health and say, and like pick our battles, as you said, like, oh, I'll deal with this tomorrow. I will put it away for now and organize it another time when I feel like it, right? Like, why are we like that?
As women?
Yeah.
There was a psychological report done out of a university out of the East. And they did a study based on women and men and how they feel about clutter. And your environment, women feel a lot more claustrophobic and confined and less productive about material clutter and things around in their environment than men do. Just the way that they're wired and the way that they see it. So that could be another reason why men change their sheets like, you know, every 6 months versus women, we change our sheets like every 2 weeks. Cause like, dude, gross. That's so, it could be like, there's a psychological aspect to women, like having 50 million things all over the place. It causes us anxiety. And I think a lot of that ties down to the fact that we are the information keepers. You know, we know where the dentist is. We create the dentist appointments. We fill in the school forms. We do the hot lunches. And that's just parenthood alone, let alone work and groceries and meals and having nice eyebrows and dusting your baseboards. Like,
that's important.
Is important, right? And then, you know, and then you think about, oh gosh, I need to wash my walls. And then we fester on that for 3 months. Yep. And then we finally wash our walls, and then you're like, oh, I feel so much better. And that's the exact same thing about organization, right? At the end of the day, it's a feeling. The majority of our clients, we show them through the spaces, and I walk them through the spaces, and I go, is there anything you want us to change? And it's very rare that our clients go, well, yeah, why'd you put the crackers there and the pasta there? They're usually like, oh, wow.
Makes sense.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even know, like, where's all my stuff? Like, everything's back in here. And we're like, yeah, everything's back in here. And they're like, how did you do that? How do I have an empty drawer? That's insane. Like, they're always just like, oh.
Can I just say that I was forced to having to declutter from top to bottom. That's why I've been tired. And I just been incredibly busy because I was like, fuck, how do I integrate my boyfriend's things?
It's a lot. It's a lot to marry 2 households.
Yeah. So, and we're temporarily just moving into my place until we get into a bigger space. And I was just like, my mom came over and she just fucking pulled everything out of my like kitchen. And I looked around and I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, where did that bumblebee cookie jar come from? What is that that's unopened? And let me tell you, all of my entire top cupboards are empty. My pantry it looks empty and bare, and I've now classified it to canned goods, breakfast, and like pastas, and like, because my boyfriend he's got 3-year-old, she's gonna be 3, and I have a 17-year-old son, so it's like such a big range.
You gotta have a little snack bin for her low.
Yeah. And then when I this is crazy, but after I do a deep clean, I don't know what it is, but I do this whole like around my house, and I'm like, it's so good, and I'm like, yeah, like, I'm not kidding, I do that in my house, and I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know what it is, but it sounds crazy.
It's not.
And then I walk around, and then I was like, oh, and then I'll send her a message. I'm like, God, I feel fucking fantastic. I'm going to bed now. I don't, you know, and I was like, I've accumulated so much crap. And it's forced me to condense like and I was like, I don't even need this. So speaking of like spectrum of like 3 and 17, what are your thoughts about your kids' artwork and things that they bring from school? So let me tell you.
Burn it.
Okay.
When they're not looking.
Hold on. So I have stuff from my son from kindergarten to like now.
Mm-hmm. Like crusty noodle art where the noodles are no longer on the glue and the paper.
So
yep.
I did our first project together, and I think he was in grade 1, and it's like this big poster board, and it was in the garage. I didn't throw it away because I threw this like ugly thing he made for Mother's Day, and he found it in the garbage when he was little.
Yeah.
And then he picked it up. He's like, why is this in the garbage? He's like, I worked so hard. And I was like, oh no, I think it was an accident. And after that, I didn't throw shit away in the garbage. And now it's accumulating. So what are your tips or advice on certain pieces to keep, and what should you do with it instead of just being in a box? Because obviously it's collecting dust.
Well, and when he moves out, he's not going to want that box from you.
No, because you know what? My boyfriend's mom, she like gives him all these things, and then she brings it there, and then he's like, I was like, you're so rude. He's like, I told my fucking mom to take it back. He's like, what the fuck am I going to do with this shit?
He doesn't want it.
Yeah. And
what
like,
18 or 17-year-old wants a big giant box of like fingerprints? So our rule of thumb is, what we recommend is that we create a keepsake box. Keepsake box is just a small tote. Nothing bigger, only one.
Like a plastic bin?
Yeah, like a plastic bin or a tote. You'll see them on my Instagram page too. So then we can create them. We create them for clients as well. And then you can save it. So we'll put in like file folders, and we'll go, preschool, kindergarten, grade 1, 2, 3, whatever it might be. And then you can put their art in it. If you already have a big giant bin like that, then we recommend, honestly, you just dump it out and you go through your key pieces and see which ones you like. Try to keep it to like 30 to 60 pieces max.
I have
and
bins.
And then it'll pare it down.
For each grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it. You're not the only one. So many of our clients do. And then the other alternative is, if you're like, I don't think I can get rid of this or I can part from it, there's a lot of fantastic companies. Is one, you can do something as simple as you can take pictures of it and you can make a book from Costco. That's the budget-friendly version. Whoa. Take the pictures, and then you have a coffee table book. And then when they move out, here's a coffee table book, or whenever they have their first home or something like that. Yeah, it's a tiny little book. There's also a company based out of the States that I've partnered with, and they're called Archive. And what they do is they'll send you a big giant box. Like, I'm talking like a monstrosity of a box, because they don't know how much you're going to send. You throw all the art that you want to keep. You ship it back to them. And they actually have digital curators and designers, and they will take the art and make it into a pretty hard copy book for you, and they'll send you the book. Cool. And they'll recycle the art for you. So you can also do that when you've got large abundance amount of art. Mm-hmm. The other option that I recommend is that you throw out their art, recycling day. That's kind of your best way to do it. Yeah. My kids are so accustomed to having their art recycled and tossed. So they'll come home with piles and piles of schoolwork, and I'll say, what do you want to keep? What do you want to put in your keepsake box, and what can we chuck? We'll review it. I'll look at their exams or tests or whatever it might be. I mean, I don't need their math quiz from grade 1. Mm-hmm. What am I going to do with that? What are they going to do with that? Cool. Report cards are now digital, things like that. So we go through that kind of stuff. And both of them are actually quite good with it, and they'll throw their stuff in the recycling bin, and then it gets recycled.
I got to start these habits now.
Yeah.
So walk us through what you do, because I've seen like episodes of Marie Kondo.
Oh yeah.
I watched the home edit. Like
totally.
It's like porn. Like sometimes my
organized porn.
Yeah. Like I'm like, hey, you want to watch this with me? And he's like,
that,
no. Like, he does not care for it. But me, I'm just like, oh my God. But my mind goes through a roller coaster of emotions when I'm watching it, because I'll be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then I'd be like, that is so fucking unrealistic. Like, they did this one thing that I thought was so cool. And I mentioned it to my fiance, and I'm just like, I don't think I'll ever do that. But they put her dollhouse on wheels, like a big Barbie dollhouse, so that they can store it. And then she can take it out when she wants to play with it. I was like, that is fucking genius. And then they had like these little bins with labels, and one was for like doll shoes. The other one was like the doll cutlery or whatever, you know, those little pieces that are always just all over the place and get sucked up into the vacuum. And so they were showing her, they're like, yeah, all your stuff goes here, blah, blah. And I'm just like, let's see how long she keeps that shit up for, because like it's unrealistic, right? So how do you do it with your clients? When like, do you purchase all the organization stuff? Do you ask them like, how do you want this? Or do you totally just take over and just be like, leave it to me? I will, you know, organize as I see fit.
Yeah. In regards to the home edit Netflix, and then I'll answer your question. And I think like the first season when it came out, among the professional organizing community, we were all like, this is not going to go over well because this is what our clients are going to expect. And it wasn't very realistic. I felt like season 2 definitely was a little bit more real and showcased a lot more of what we do. What I really appreciated about home edit is it really brought a lot of light to my industry and what we do. Because 5 years ago, if someone asked me, oh, what do you do? And I said, I'm a professional organizer. People are like, And I'm like, no, like that's just what I do. I go and I organize pantries and closets and everything. So yes, I agree. When I saw that episode and they were putting everything and like splitting the cutlery, I'm like, that's not going to last.
No.
So what we do is we go in, we create practical and functional systems and organizational systems. So we talk to our clients, we figure out the ages of everyone in the home, what their interests are, what their lifestyle is, and then we gear around our organization based on that. So we want to make it personalized. Every single home, I mean, yes, we've got our principles that we do in a closet or a pantry or kitchen or things like that, but we want to really make it specific to how the family, or, you know, even if it's just one person in a 600 square foot apartment, we want to make it custom to how they're living their life. So we come in and obviously we do label everything because it's harder to maintain if there's no labels.
Right. Yeah.
If there's younger children that are not reading, our labels will consist of a picture and the word. So if it's a cars, it'll say cars and then a picture. Maybe they have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, like my kids. My 4-year-old's not reading. The 8-year-old obviously can read. So then we create that. So one, we're hitting that early learning literacy where the actual word cars is there and then the picture of the car. So then that way the 8-year-old and the 4-year-old can both maintain the system and put the cars where they're supposed to put. So there's a lot of questions that we ask. So typically our system is, or the process to work with Sparx is we book a consultation. We ask you all these questions and the things that we want to know about you and how we can personalize it. And then from there, my lead organizer, she'll create a space plan based on our consultation. And then if our client is interested in investing in product, then we will create a space plan using product that we recommend. So then we will give them a detailed product estimate. It'll say, hey, we're thinking about maybe 8 of this bin. This is the individual price of the bin. This is the total price. So then that way they get full visibility. They also get a vision board on it. So then that way they can see what all the products look like, because at the end of the day, they're investing in that product and we want them to like it. If they come back to me and they're like, Krystee, that is the ugliest basket I've ever seen in my life. Why on earth would you recommend it? Totally fine. We have an inventory of hundreds of products and we'll give you an alternative in its place. So we always try to stay within their budget. We ask them what their product budget is. If they do want to invest in product, a lot of our clients don't. And they've got bins and baskets and turntables or just iPhone boxes, because those are sturdy boxes. Let me tell you that. You can make a junk drawer perfectly out of iPhone case boxes. But, and if they don't want to invest in product, that's totally fine. We'll use what they have and we'll create the best systems that we can. Will it 100% maximize the space as if we were putting in new product? Sometimes, not always, but that's okay. We're still going to make it fantastic. So it just depends on our client, their budget, their aesthetic, what they want it to look like. And then in regards to product, is we have 2 options. Is one, they can go shop for the product themselves because they'll be given the list. So they can go to IKEA, Canadian Tire, Bed Bath & Beyond. Well, not Bed Bath & Beyond.
They're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
Can't believe that
so
lasted that long. Sorry.
I'm surprised, actually.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, they are a little bit on the more investment side. But, or we can go and shop and purchase all of the product for them for a small fee, and then we bring all the product with us the day that we come to organize.
Yeah.
And then if for whatever reason we don't end up using a bin or a basket or whatever it might be, we take it back with us and we actually process the returns for them. So it's kind of like a nice, no hassle.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. The majority of our clients choose to go that route just because of time.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah. So then we bring everything with us and we haul it in, we haul it out. We'll build IKEA shelves and tables.
Bless
and
you.
All that kind of
IKEA shit. We just built a fucking closet and we tore my entire
the closets
closet.
are intense.
Yeah, and when we were shopping for it, I was like, yeah. And then my boyfriend at the time was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this fucking thing is so high that I can't even reach the top rack.
You need a little collapsible step stool.
Well, for me, I need a ladder, like a 2-step ladder. It's that high. And then he laughed and he's like, how are you going to get your clothes? And I was like, well, we've been committed. Cause like, he's like 6 foot fucking 6'4", and he's like, well, I'm fine here. And I was like, well, we've committed to this and there's no going back. So,
can he do all the top and you do all the lower?
no, because I was an idiot for the fact that I wanted both to match aesthetically.
Yes.
And then he's like, no, why don't we do this? I'm like, no, because I'm going to look in the closet and it's going to be mismatched there. I'm like, I don't want that. Yeah. So he just let me lead he's like, whatever you want, I'll build. It's fine. And then by the time we got there, he looked at me and I laughed and he's like, I'm not going to say anything because he knew that I fucked up, but he just wasn't going to say it. And I was like, ugh. He's like, sometimes my advice is like good too, I was like, no, it's not. So I know you were talking about your clients about how they, usually are double income and they can afford to do those things. We do have viewers out there that they want to do this, right? But obviously they don't have the budget of doing it. So what kind of advice would you give them when it comes to where they can look for great organization storage? What can they do to make it budget friendly and for them to do on their own because they can't really get you?
Yeah. So typically if you're going to do it on your own, my recommendation is start small. Don't do it in big chunks. Like, don't just automatically empty out your whole entire kitchen and then think you're going to organize it in a day. It becomes very overwhelming. And that's the thing too, is you'll see even on my Instagram, you'll see it online and we can organize a whole entire space in a day, but that's because we're used to it. We're accustomed to it. We've got a system down pat. We work quite quickly. And so if you're doing it on your own, I recommend just start little by little. Start with a drawer. Start with the junk drawer. That's my biggest recommendation. Start with a junk drawer. Junk drawer you can usually get accomplished within 20 minutes, maximum half an hour. Then you feel good. You're confident. It boosts your mood. You're like, oh gosh, look how good I was. Look, I did it all by myself. I use these iPhone boxes that have been sitting there for 5 years. Whoop, whoop. So I mean, like it's satisfying. Don't, if maybe you only have an hour before you want to go to bed or you have to go to work or you have an event, maybe don't empty your whole entire master closet. Not a wise decision because then you're going to come home and all your clothes are all over your bed and scattered.
That's me, guys.
Yep. And then, I mean, there's so many budget-friendly solutions. And that's the thing is like so many people think, okay, this is going to cost an arm and a leg. We can organize a pantry in 3 hours. And the cost for our services at Sparx Organizing are $225 for that, for one organizer. So we are budget-friendly as well, too. And we recommend a variety of products from Dollarama to IKEA to, I mean, we've dealt with budgets of $100. We've dealt with budgets to $1,500. We've dealt with budgets that are $5,000. Yeah. So we're very accustomed to dealing with such a variety, and you can organize with, things from the dollar store. It's 100% doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you do your consultations then, or when you first walk into a house, do you make them recondo their stuff? Like get rid of all the stuff? Because I'm sure like junk drawers, I'm sure like 50% of the stuff that are in there, I don't need. Yeah. So do you go through these with your clients and say, take out what you don't want, or like, how does that work? Because it must be a lengthy process.
It's actually not as lengthy as you would think. The majority of people, by the time they've reached out to us and they've had us, they're ready. They're ready to purge. They're ready to go through their stuff. It's very rare that we have someone that hires us where they're like, ooh, no, I don't want to donate a single thing. Mm-hmm. It's very common that people are like, okay, I need to start purging. And I think a lot of times, too, is you just need that neutral party to be like, when was the last time you've worn this sweater?
Yeah.
And just asking basic questions that you could 100% have your mom ask you. You can have your husband, your spouse, but then you get defensive. right? Because you have a personal relationship. And then you could be like, well, no, I wear that sweater. Like, why are you coming at me? I've worn this sweater. And then your husband's just like, no, you haven't. You've had that for 5 years. You haven't worn it once. It doesn't even fit, right? So then you start having confrontation. Having us, we're a neutral party. and a lot of times people come in and then they're like, and we ask them, when was the last time you wore this? They hesitate and they go, not for a long time. So then we ask, okay, so if you were in the store today, would you buy this sweater again today?
Yeah.
And a lot of times the answer is no. So then we're like, okay, do you think we can let it go? And they'll go, yeah, we can let it go. And that's a lot of the misconception too, is sometimes we have clients that are like, are you going to make me get rid of everything? Like, am I going to have socks after this? And we're like, no, we're not going to make you get rid of everything. At the end of the day, it's your stuff. It's your home. We respect it. And we just want to coach you and walk you through it. And we just want you to be able to love your space and love the things that are in that space. So then that way you're like, yeah, I totally am going to wear this sweater. So we have some clients too where they're like, well, I spent a lot of money on that. When was the last time you wore it? 5 years ago. So then it's money wasted. The money's already been spent.
Yeah.
It's just hanging here now.
That's
I
me.
feel triggered. Like all my shoes that I don't wear and I don't have the
your shoes.
lifestyle for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have them anymore.
No.
Oh my God.
So sometimes it's, you guys are like shifting in your seats. You okay? Are you sweating? Take a deep
I'm
breath.
just thinking about all the shit in my
You're okay.
closet.
First
that I
of all,
haven't
We're in the
worn.
podcast room.
Right?
We're not in your closet.
So my entire main floor
Yeah.
in the shoe rack was just my shit.
Yeah.
I still have some upstairs.
Yeah.
And then I have some in like a makeshift shoe rack that I just started shoving in. And then my boyfriend walked in. He's like, where am I putting my stuff? He's like, I have 5 pairs of shoes and Kinsley has like 4.
Yep.
And I had to go through all of it. And I was like, fuck, I spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, God, why do I have this mustard yellow shoes from my 20s? So I already purged out from where I moved. And now I've purged again. And now I've condensed it. I'm sitting there and I was like, am I going to wear this? I'm repurging again because I was like, I haven't worn these boots in like 3-4 years.
But it's less overwhelming.
And you're
especially
right.
when you're going to figure out an outfit and what shoes that you go to. You got to think the majority of people only wear 20% of their wardrobe.
Half of my wardrobe was
Each
gone
season.
now.
Exactly. So on
couldn't even
average, you're
believe
only
it.
wearing 20%. And that's the thing too, is whether it's in the wardrobe or even in the pantry, we'll pull things out or pull, just like what you said. Why do I have this honeybee pot?
Yeah.
We pull things out and we have clients that go, I didn't even know I had that.
Yeah.
Where did that even come from? Why is that even there? They're like, I don't even know where that came from. Like, yeah, let's donate it. Okay, cool. Another thing too is like a lot of people have like an emotional sentiment to something where maybe they got this vase from their Aunt Ruth when they got married 20 years ago. I can't get rid of that vase because my Aunt Ruth gave it to me and it's crystal. Okay, but do you use this vase? No. Do you intend to use this vase? No. Okay, is Aunt Ruth visiting often and is she looking for the vase that she gifted you 20 years ago? Because I guarantee Aunt Ruth doesn't even remember what she got you as a wedding gift. But does Aunt Ruth ask you, hey, I bought you some tulips. Are you putting them in that crystal vase that I got you as a wedding present? Most likely not. Maybe Aunt
That's
Ruth has
great
passed,
logic.
Yeah.
right? So, and that's the thing too, is like we have so many clients where they're like, I got that from my mom, and if I got rid of that, she'd be really upset. But would she? Does your mom want you to have things that are giving you stress and anxiety and causing an emotional burden and resentment in your home?
That's a good point.
No, your mom doesn't want you to have that.
Yeah.
Your mom wants you to feel good in your space. So yes, we can get rid of that.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of times, so we are coaching through a lot of the, that's one of the things, there's a lot of psychological aspect to things and to items and the reason why we keep it in this bracelet and, whatever it might be. And having us as that neutral party and going, okay. And sometimes it's just us giving you permission.
Yeah.
You can let this go. Let's donate this. And a lot of people are like, really? And I'm like, yeah, let's donate this. They're like, okay, let's donate it. And then the thing is that let's say we're there for 6 hours. You'd be surprised as how many of our clients were there for 4 hours in, and they're just purging everything right, left, and center. And I look at the donation box, and we got to make another donation box, or we got to open another donation bag. And I look at my client, and I'm like, Megan, You're on a roll. You're a machine today. And then they're like, yeah. And then they're pumped and they're jacked and they're excited about it. So it's just like, it's a feeling, it's a mood. And
and you just got to open that door for them. Yeah.
And my team comes in and we're just like a guns a-blazing. Like we're energetic. We're excited. Like if you're looking for a professional organizer that's calm, we are not it.
No, you're my kind of people.
We come in and we play music and we're dancing. And sometimes one of us gets stumps on a drawer and we can't figure it out. And so then another one will come over, or maybe product fits just like, butter. And then it's just like, and then we just sit there and it's just like, I'm pretty sure I just had a small orgasm. Like
Those
I
are the
had an
victories.
organic, like organizational orgasm. And then we all, like my team, we all look at each other and we're like, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's good.
Oh my God.
And we dance and we're jacked.
I love
and
it.
We're like, boom, look at this drawer. And our clients will be like, yeah, it looks good. And we'll be like, no, it looks great.
Yeah. Let's get to viewer questions because we're almost out of time and we haven't asked any viewer questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so we had a question. This is personal to you. So if you had time to organize just one thing, what would be your top choice?
Like if I were to organize it in a client's house, you think?
Yeah.
A pantry.
Yeah. That seems like
I like the pantry just because it's moving and grooving and it's rotating frequently.
Yeah.
And multiple hands are in that space. So if we can make that pantry organized, and that's the thing, I mean, you live in it. It's your home, whether it's a cupboard style, whether it's a closet, whether it's a tiny one, whether it's a big walk-in, whether you have a butler's pantry, it doesn't matter. We've organized it all. It just makes life easier when you know where your tuna is.
And everyone uses it.
And everyone uses it.
Every day.
Yeah, I have tuna that was 5 years expired in my pantry. Anyways,
So our oldest expiry item that we've found, because we're keeping a tally, was 1986.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought my mom was bad. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a viewer who said, every time I travel with my 3 kids, I always feel like I'm forgetting something.
Yep.
Or it's just a complete disaster before we leave on vacation. How do you stay organized or keep things organized with travel necessities for your kids and yourself?
So on the plane, I would recommend little pouches. They're little plastic mesh pouches. They're fantastic. And just put in a few arts and crafts and things like that. And then make sure each child, if they're at age, has a backpack and they're responsible for their own little things. Don't give them too much stuff. I was actually just reading a study last week that the average child only needs 18 to 20 toys. That's it. And anything over actually gives them overwhelm.
Like at all times?
Yeah, like 18 to 20. Like
That's
that's
a
it.
dream.
Holy shit. They've got to purge Kinsey's shit out of the house now.
18
It's
to 20.
so
I'd
much.
have to purge my stuff to meet that 18 to 20. I mean, like, whew. And then in regards to organizing your, like, let's say your suitcases or anything like that, and honestly, it sounds silly, but they're worth the investment. Travel cubes.
I use those all the time.
Oh my God, they're amazing. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
You could travel cube. And so they're like, basically, for people who don't know what they are, is they're a little mesh. They're very flat. You can store them in your suitcase when you store them away. So then that way they're easy to store and organize when you're not traveling. But you can sort everything. So you could put maybe your underwear in one, your socks in one, your bras, whatever it might be, and then shirts and things. When it comes to the kids, what I do is I actually organize them in outfits and in days. So I will put a t-shirt, a pair of pants, underwear, and I will roll it into a ball, and then that's how it goes into the suitcase. So wherever we're traveling, let's say we put it into the drawer or whatever. When you get to the hotel, you just take it all out, and then the kids just have a full outfit right then and there, and then you're set and done. It's easy.
Oh,
Nice. I need that that advice 'cause we're traveling soon with my daughter.
Roll it.
And then do you have a professional organizer that you follow? Like your favorite?
I follow so many. One of my favorites is Sarah from Three Pines Organizing. She's in Winnipeg. I like her because she's authentic and she's real and she shows everyday home spaces. It's not all, 10,000 square foot homes and Pinterest and Instagram worthy homes. So she's very relatable and it's showing the everyday home, everyday house. And she's witty. She's hilarious. I have her as a speaker for an event I'm hosting in September. Like she's a good one to follow Follow Sarah, 3 Pines Organizing, Winnipeg.
We will definitely follow.
We'll follow her.
She's good.
This is a question from me because I'm the viewer. Okay. So you're a professional organizer.
Yeah.
And you are, you have friends, family. Do you go to like family members' houses or friends' houses and you're like, I feel the fucking need to organize this right now? Because fuck, I go to friends' houses, like some I'm not gonna name, but I was like, God damn, your house looked like it blew up. They're like, excuse the mess. I'm like, oh, that's totally okay. And sometimes I look at my boyfriend and I'm like, I really want to clean it so bad. Like I just want to help. Not my jam. But do you feel sometimes you're like, I need to do this? Like I need to organize this? Or do you organize it like
I do
subconsciously?
I do. Sometimes
do?
I'm in their pantry and I'm like rearranging things and it's like subconscious and it's just second nature. And then I do it. And the majority of my friends, and I'm like supported by such a fantastic family and friend network. I'm so beyond blessed. When I said I was starting a business and this is what I'm doing, all of them were like, done. What can I do to support you? How are we going to do this? Okay, I think you can do this. Like, everyone was behind me. So, I mean, they're still that way. So if I go over anyone's house and I'm organizing someone's pantry, or a lot of times I try to restrain myself because I have to remember I'm not working. I'm there to have wine and eat cheese, So it's just like, sometimes it's like, okay, Krystee, like, not my monkeys, not my circus. So, but yes. I do. I do it to my in-laws all the time.
Do you want to come over?
You got
I've got wine and cheese. Don't worry, we can dance.
I'm going to purposely leave my junk drawer open when you come over.
Oh, hey, Krystee.
That's okay. It'll only take me 20 minutes. I got you.
Per drawer, though, right? Because I have more than one.
God. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, this is a question from me too, because I just recently, in October we were in LA. I've been so many times in like, but this is my first time going with my kid. So we went to, I forgot what mall it was, but I wanted to take her to the American Girl flagship store. So we're like, okay, we're going to go to your dream store. And then after we're going to mom's dream store, and it was the Container Store. Have you?
I have not.
Oh my God. Like, when you walk in,
Did you guys just orgasm right now?
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. It's okay. So it's
Tuesday
called the
for me.
Container Store, and it's basically just all home organizing. And Marie Kondo actually has a line of.
She has a line,
yeah,
sustainable line too.
Yeah.
The Home Edit has a line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's basically just
I will have a line with
just
them
all organizing.
one day.
Yeah, I was gonna say
We can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
I know. I've been asking the Container Store to come to Canada,
Yeah.
and I've been asking them for years, and they just keep saying we ship to Canada. I'm like, guys, thanks.
That's not the
Tips.
same.
I know that, but I have to pay U.S. dollars and I have to pay shipping, and not all of
Yes.
my clients can, afford that because it is an investment, especially with our dollar right now.
Oh,
Right.
it's terrible.
Oh, it's
Sucks.
terrible.
I didn't buy anything this time around because I was like, I'm sure
How
I
long
can
are
find
you going to
something
be there
like
for? Are
this.
you going to spend a couple hours?
Well-
Should you call me while you're there? Can we Zoom? You can FaceTime me. Send me a note on Instagram, and we'll just call, and then I could just pretend I'm there.
Well, because
I won't even say anything. I'll just be quiet.
every time I'm there, it takes me so long to leave because number one, I never have room in my luggage to
No.
bring shit back. Number
upsetting.
two, I don't want to bring that back.
I know.
Right? Like everyone's gonna be like, you're taking up all the precious cargo space with your fucking organizing stuff.
Damn right you should.
Yeah, it's for me. But yeah, that's what I was gonna ask if it's gonna come to Canada. But maybe if you do a collab with them, they'll bring it to Canada.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
The Krystee Robinson line.
The Krystee, the Sparx Organizing line.
Oh.
I'll have one. I used to have a bin clip, so I have had product in the past. So yeah, it'll happen.
It's in the works.
Yeah, it'll
We're
happen.
manifesting it. It's
manifesting.
It's going to happen.
It's on the vision
right
board.
here, right here.
Yep.
You heard it here first on Ham. The Sparx by
Organizing.
Krystee.
Yeah,
There you go.
Sparx by Krystee line.
there, done.
So on your website, you have a mentorship program. Can you tell us how that works and what can people expect out of your mentorship program?
So my mentorship program is geared towards people who want to start a career as a professional organizer. So my formal education is in teaching. So I graduated as a teacher, and I never ended up teaching. I guess I do teach through my mentorship, so I guess I do use it. And when the pandemic hit, I'm not gonna lie, I had like 3 days of panic because I was like, everybody's organizing their house. Stop doing that. That's my job. I was like, oh my God, there's not going to be any houses for me to organize. And I was like, and I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm going to have to close the doors to Sparx Organizing. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I am. This is going to be horrible. Everybody's organizing their house and they're organizing and they're shipping shit from Amazon to organize their houses and they're all like purging their houses. And donation centers were like, we can't take any more donations. And there was like donation centers in the United States and they're taking on way too many clothes because so many people were purging because they're sitting at home. They finally saw their stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so I was like, okay, I feel like I need to shift my business a little bit. So I reached out on Instagram and I created a group of professional organizers and we just basically collaborated. And that led to my mentorship program of me going, okay, wait a second. I've started a business. Can I teach and coach people on how to start a business as a professional organizer? It's the back end, the client agreements and how to run a consultation, your invoicing, procedures, how to build your team, how to train your team, the certain expectations, employee handbooks, things like that. So then I started my mentorship program and I've taught people all around the world. That's insane.
Fantastic. That is.
It's really wild and it's... and I absolutely love it. And I adore it. And then almost 3 years ago, I started another company with another professional organizer friend of mine called Organizers Connect. And so that's what we do is we provide online webinars and classes and printables and ebooks and...
For just the aspiring organizers?
Just for people that, or they want to level up their business. And so... that all runs with Organizers Connect now with my mentorship. And, even if it's someone who's been in business for 2 years and they want to level up their business, maybe they want to build their team or they want to grow, then I'll coach them and mentor them through that. So,
well, congratulations on that. It sounds like you're doing so well. And
I'm tired.
Well, I mean, it pays off. Now you're going to have your own line.
Oh my God.
You're going to bring the Container Store to Canada. So thank you so much for sharing all that. Like, I feel like, as tired as I am right now and the time, I want to go home and organize. And I want to tell my daughter, they did a study that you only need 18 to 20 toys. So we got to get rid of all your shit.
That's it. One Barbie. She's only allowed one pair of shoes.
Yeah,
that's it.
So I know earlier today we were talking about you're like, is that 3 pages? And like, I'm not kidding. We have not asked all of this.
Yeah.
Everything we just asked you it's not even on here except for the viewers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because we're out of time, like fuck time.
Sorry.
We can talk about.
I know I chat.
No.
This was
We love
awesome.
it. But I feel like it's such a great topic. We could probably talk about this for hours. Yeah. So because we're going to be out of time, thank you again, Krystee. We loved all of your advice, tips, and hacks, and we literally orgasmed right on the podcast for the first time.
Not even about, we've had episodes in the past about sex and all this. It's the organizing one that does it.
But before you go, we wanted to ask you this. If there is one thing you wanted to organize differently in your life, what would it be and why?
It would be my time.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. It's my time. I'm trying to be a lot more conscious of it, but being a mom, an entrepreneur, 2 businesses, and I feel like I'm very determined and driven and motivated, and I'm very if I set my set on something, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do it. And I feel like sometimes that's my Achilles heel because then my time's already so limited and I'm working 7 days a week as it is. So I would like to organize my time. I have clients ask us all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Can you organize my life? And I'm like, no.
I can't
organize my life. On Sunday, I got a reminder on my phone saying that my son had a birthday party. And I was like, and it was in 20 minutes, North Calgary. And I look at my phone and I'm like, holy shit. Stratton has a birthday party in 20 minutes. 1, we haven't gotten a birthday present.
Yeah.
And 2, you're not going because it would take us 40 minutes to drive there.
Oh, I'm guessing you live on the other side.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I can't organize your life. I can organize a space, a home, anything like that. I see it I can already envision it. I can already organize it. But if you're asking me to organize and like meal plan for you, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No, I need to organize my time.
Time is a good one. Yeah. I'm sure we could all use that too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's intense. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again, Krystee. We really enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. Like, it's something we always talk about, and I think it was just the universe bringing us together. So thank you so much, and good luck with everything. We are awaiting your Sparx by Krystee line. By the
too.
We're having an organizing party at my house pretty quickly.
Okay.
What are you doing?
As long as you FaceTime me from the Container Store, we might have a
I
deal.
promise.
Okay.
I promise. All right. Well, that's it for us today, Ham Fam. Don't forget to follow along on our YouTube and our Instagram, and leave us a little comment or slide into our DMs on any topics that you want to see in the future, and we would love to hear from you. So, for those of you who need to hear this, be sure to give yourself a big hug and be kind to yourself, especially on the hardest days. Thank you all. Bye.